used kind of thin standard. Okay, so standard is obviously the most important thing to make sure that is selected as number one step. The second one, whether you want it or not, you can use the length attribute. So the left checkbox that you see there at the end, you can use that as your starting point. You don't have to, as in it's a dynamic part. You can scale it to whatever you want. But if you already know, okay, I need this to be quote unquote 12 inches long, you can have it 1 inch long. All right?
Okay. Hang on one sec. Sorry, I have to do a little moving around. Okay, 12 you said?
As an example, whatever. Let's click OK. So now it's going to ask you to place it. Right? You can click to place. Right? So again, even after you place it, you can still scale it to whatever size you want. Right? So you can click on the object, and you can use these adjustment ends on each end, either to stretch it all the way to the left or move it all the way to the left, either or. Just make sure you're staying quote unquote within the confines of the mounting plate. Right? You can scale it up or down. All right.
So I'm gonna need one more to go up here. Does this have a thing where you can line it up with the other one?
Yep. I was gonna go through all of those placement things so you have a reference for that as well. So let's just say the very first step, you had the option to specify what the width was, right? So if you needed it 6 inches, we could have set 6 inches up front.
Right.
You can also right click on this rail and click device properties. Go to the you're already in the shape steps. On the bottom left corner, you have the exercise. Let's say this, you happen to just move it perfect 6 inches.
Wow.
Your eye perfection is perfect. Okay? So that is where you can define the width itself. As in, like, if you want a 6 1/4 or 8 inches, that's where you would type it in to be very specific. If you're mimicking existing design, right?
Right.
Okay. So click OK, and you can verify quote unquote that the other one is 6 inches if you want. All right, so you were down just a hair off. Okay, so now you have two parts, quote unquote, equal sizes. Now to your question, like, can we do some alignment tools, etc., right? So we can do multi-select. So if you press Control, I think it is Control. First one is selected. Select the second one. If it's not, then it's Shift. I always get the two mixed up because I do these things intuitively, not even thinking about it. All right, so now these two items are selected. As a quick preview that you know that you didn't select something else on accident, you can see the 3D preview that you only have two objects selected. That's a really good reference to remember.
Mm-hmm.
So now that these two items are selected, in the let's see here, in your toolbar, towards the toolbar on the left side, all the way on the left side, you have these alignment 5 or 6 different options. So you have alignment to the left, alignment to the right. We'll talk about horizontal and vertical, kind of like a placement, and then you have align to top and align to bottom. So in your case here, you can choose which way makes more sense to you, align them left or align them right. Both of them are the same size, so it doesn't really matter. So now they're quote unquote aligned, right, from a placement perspective.
Yeah.
The second thing, obviously the most common thing, so let's just deselect these two options or these two rails, and let's just select one. Let's just select the bottom one, okay? The second thing that needs to be just learned, obviously understood and done once, is in your alignment tools, where your mouse is right now, to the right you have two values, 0 inches and 0 inches. One is horizontal and one is vertical. So in this case, the left one is the horizontal one. So for example, if you were to say, I want to be 1 inch horizontal, so if you say, type in 1 inch, just type 1 inch as an example. So for example, you say, I want to be 1 inch from the left. So 1 inch you already typed in, and then you say align to left. But align to left right now, you don't have a reference as to what. So right now, for example, as we started this selection process, we should have selected your mounting plate and the rail, so the rail knows what is being referenced to, right? Because right now if we would have just press left, there's no reference, right? So there's nothing to go off of. But if you select the mounting plate and the item of object and you say align left, now you are quote unquote 1 inch from the left. And the same concept with that second number that you have there, that will be the vertical offset. So if you say I want to be 3 inches from the bottom as an example, so you can type 3 inches and you say align to bottom, right? So your reference is bottom in this case, but you are 3 inches off or 3 inches from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one way of using this placement tool kind of on a quick alignments perspective. The other option, again, this is just like to be at your disposal to do it a couple different ways. Move this rail manually to, let's just say, close as possible where you can do to 0, 0, right? Just on this mounting plate, just so you can have the kind of the visual how this works. Okay, as long as you're close, does not need to be perfect. Okay, so this next piece I want you to do is right click on this rail, initiate the move command. So click on the move object once.
This one?
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, once you click on the move, you'll see the outline of your placement. And now when I do this usually myself, is if I know that this needs to be, let's say 10 inches from the bottom, 1 inch from the left side, I pre-move this, like without placing it, as long as you're just moving it, it's okay. Like move your mouse where, let's say 1 inch from the left, 10 inches from the bottom, could be approximately, like it doesn't need to be good, and you'll see the reason why I'm doing this. Okay, so when you say, okay, this is where quote unquote should go, don't click to place. Instead, press P on your keyboard. That's for positioning. Okay, so now you have this reference on this little prompt where you have this absolute positioning and you have relative positioning. So absolute positioning, for example, right now you have 10 inches from your left, 9.625, which was our approximate placement. So you can adjust this to be your 10 inches. Right, 10 inches. And the X one on the top, if you see the ruler all the way on top of your screen, that is your 80 inches ruler as a place in space.
Mm-hmm.
Again, why it's 80 inches right now, I think it's our initial placement probably on the, our sheet was not at 0, 0 when we started from. But this would have been a good process, as in what you just did is proper, and you would have just clicked on the left button to place. As in using these two references, two rulers to place something at a very, very specific location.
Okay.
Okay, so put this down back at 0, 0 one more time. I'm going to use the other option to show you that as well. Again, doesn't need to be perfect. So right click and place. Right click and move, sorry. Right click and move to initiate the move command. Now, as your movement of your mouse, put it down back where 0, 0 could have been. I'll just say close to 0, 0. All right, press P command again. Okay, now I want you to use the relative field, as in like if your starting position was quote unquote a bottom left corner, now you can say I want my thing to move, let's say 3 inches in X and whatever, 5 inches in Y, as long as it fits on the sheet, it should be okay. And click left button to place it. So it's using your original starting point and placing it as a relative 3 to 5 as you just described it as such. So that's like a 3 different ways how you can place these items in a very, very specific location. Again, if you're mimicking something existing, if you're just drafting something brand new, maybe this is not as critical, to be whatever, quarter of an inch of wherever it needs to be.
Okay.
All right. So let's position these two where you think you would have needed them just to start off. And then we'll add ducts to kind of initiate us into the next stage, if you will.
Okay.
If this is good enough, that's all right with me. Let's just start with ducts. Same kind of process. We select it. In this drop-down menu of things, we also have this length option to define, right? The device nomenclature in this case for rails and ducts, to me at least, it's not very important unless you really want to call them out on your drawings. On your drawings you want to see where your rail 1 is, rail 2 is. So in your technicians, or I shouldn't say technicians, your builders on the shop floor would know when you say, add relay to strip 1 or add relay to DIN rail number 2. Those references is where it kind of matters to make sure that people on the shop floor do it right the first time, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay. So in this case, let's just say length, let's just make that length, I don't know, let's just say 8 inches or so to make sure it fits both on the plane. It's slightly longer than the thin rail itself. And the text template, this is the option where you can choose in that drop-down menu as to what kind of text marker, text type, and what kind of text do you want to show on your duct itself. So I just say as a baseline, select the text C. It's kind of like the one that has the most basic info on it. Once you place it, I'll show what that is. Yes, this is all good. Click OK and place it. Let's just say somewhere above or below these existing ducts or existing rails. And you probably can also use a couple of these. So let's just do copy paste. You can do copy paste of these existing ones. Yeah, Control C, Control V will work as well. And then you can paste one more and then rotate it before you place it. So you can do Control V to paste, but then before you commit to place, you can press R to rotate. So copy it, Control V to paste.
It's not Control C.
Oh, Control C to copy, correct.
Okay,
Control C to
and
copy,
Control
and then
V.
Control V to paste, and then press R once to rotate.
Okay.
There you go. Yep. And then you can place it anywhere. And usually you would place these adjacent, like next to these other ones, because you want to have the electrical continuity between these two pieces. Now, based on your design, I don't know if you know where did these need to lay.
No, we didn't. I don't think we used any duct.
As in, you don't use the ducts themselves?
Not on this project. We didn't. I don't think so. If I can pull up the picture, I'm pretty positive we didn't.
Right. And in both cases, obviously you have both cases.
Yeah.
But from DTM perspective, the ducts are requirement, as in they have to be there.
Oh,
but
really?
they don't have to be there as a BOM item. And I'll explain that here once you show me the pictures to what your item ended up looking like.
I don't know why it's so hard to bring up my taskbar.
I had that same struggle on my machine for like a week and a half now, and I don't know if it's some kind of Windows nonsense update that happened.
Oh my goodness.
But it is super annoying. Like I click on my taskbar, I click on the window itself, and it takes me like 3 clicks to get the application back up. And I know I'm not crazy, and I'm glad that somebody else is doing it.
Yeah. And still, it's not because I'm screen sharing. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, this happens to me even with no screen sharing, so I know it's not screen sharing related. But it's super annoying.
Yeah. So
Okay,
no
now I
duct.
see the picture. Okay, so I see now majority of your things looks like you don't have any ducts at all, which is okay. Like I said, I'll explain the reasoning behind both of these designs. So one, let's say normal process is to have the ducts there, more from like a UL requirements perspective or meeting UL 506 or 508A standard,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you say, all right, I'm not going to use ducts in my project as like I don't need to see them. So there's 2 things you can do, and it's a workaround purely from visual perspective, but it's a requirement for this automatic routing that takes place in this tool, as in these
Okay.
ducts have to be there just to route the wires, from object A to object B. But from your perspective of I don't want to see it and I don't want to see it on my BOM, right? That's kind of like your 2 requirements, right?
Yeah.
So what you can do is you can right click on these devices, on any of these ducts, or multi-select them. You can do all at once. As an example, so right click on these objects and we'll say device properties. So let's just click on devices tab. That's where majority of this stuff happens from a BOM perspective. So in these attributes that you see down below where it says reference to master, and then you have a blank field. In that blank field, let's just add a new attribute. You see a drop down menu that appears. So the attribute that triggers something to be excluded from BOM, there's an attribute called no BOM. So just scroll down to no section, and there should be no BOM option. Yep. And as a value on the right side, it's just a 1 or 0. So I usually put in 1 just to have a content. But I think even just a share presence of no BOM attribute, I think it's sufficient. I probably should confirm that just in my own head to make sure that is correct. But I think just having the attribute should be good enough. So adding this 1 is kind of going above and beyond. It's really needed or not needed. But the no BOM is what excludes these items to be on your BOM, to be on your reports, as in they don't exist.
Okay. Yep.
All right, so if you click OK, that will do that part. Now, the second thing for you is you can leave these ducts here just for purely troubleshooting purposes, to make sure your wires are going through, to make sure you see the links, etc. But if you, let's say at the end of the project, as in just before you commit to printing, okay, you can right click on these objects and say, let's see here, I think this will be honest. Right click on it for a second, click on symbol properties first. I think it's on symbol properties. Symbol properties, okay, and the part that you will be using to make them invisible will be this level option that you see as a position 1. Everything that you ever draw in DTM, period, schematics and panel, by default it's this position 1, unless you want to put an object or a level somewhere else for different purposes. So if you scroll all the way down on the bottom of this list, there's something called construction layer, or even hidden panel plate, for example, that 254, second to last one. Okay, click on that, 254, and click apply and OK.
Oh.
All right, so that makes the panel, or the ducts are still there, like from purely electrical requirements. And now, whether you want to scale them smaller, make them like more visually same as your project requires it, from like a where does the wire really needs to flow, that is what you can do while it's still visible. But when you're ready to commit to printing, that's when I would make this into this construction layer. I just said it's 254 layer in the background.
And how do you bring it back?
So if you want to bring it back, so right click on background, anywhere in the background. I shouldn't even click, you don't even have to click on anything, as long as you're on the sheet. Press L on your keyboard for levels, just L for levels. Okay, so these are all the 255 layers that you just kind of scroll through. Everything with the text is what you were able to see in your drop down menu that you just did.
Mm-hmm.
And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, all the way on the bottom, there's your hidden panel 254. So if you enable these two checkboxes, one is for objects, one is for symbols, one is on symbols, then you click OK, and then we'll bring them back as a visible layer. Right?
Oh, okay.
So again, it's just kind of this temporary thing. Both one, it will help you on a troubleshooting end, layout end, and the other one is, again, for purposes of production and printing, you can set it back to just that basic layer of whatever, position number 1, if you just want to kind of reset it, if you will. But these layers here is probably your only playground, if you will, to make something disappear both as a text, as an object, as a symbol. You have like 5 or 6 different checkboxes for what do you want to make invisible, or what do you want to move something to a certain layer.
Okay.
All right, so for sake of your design, let's just put them back, just so you know that they're there, so you can actually design it right. So either click on L for levels. Yeah, enable those back on. At least temporarily. I would set those back to position 1 until you're really, really done with everything.
Okay.
And then you can put them to their layer later on.
So I need to change them back to position 1?
I would, just while you're still drafting and laying this out. Because you want to make sure that your wires are kind of mimicking the flow, how they are currently in your project. Right. If they just need to go from like a top rail to the bottom rail, like your picture showed,
mm-hmm.
then you technically speaking only need one, right, between the two rails.
Okay.
One duct, I should say, just so the wires can go into the duct and then go left or right wherever they need to go, and then go bottom to the next rail. So let's just take your top rail and just move it slightly up, just so we will have a space to put a component on. And then based on your, open up your picture one more time. What's some random device that we can mimic from that design? Is it a circuit breaker that you had on top?
Yeah, there was a disconnect. Oh my goodness.
All right, so we have, I'm not sure what that device is, those first 3 devices. What is that?
This is a disconnect, a fuse.
Disconnect and
distribution block.
Disconnect is the one with the rod.
Yep.
Then we have the power distribution, circuit breaker or a contactor on the bottom right. And what is that item on the top left corner? Is that a VFD or PLC?
This is a VFD.
VFD, okay. And then we have a terminal block on the bottom. Okay. All right, it just gives me a picture of kind of like a couple items that we can place just so you can get the visual to kind of play with it. So technically speaking, we need one DIN rail on top and one DIN rail on the bottom. Considering the middle portion there is a, looks like a plate-mounted
distribution block.
Yep. As in does not need a rail, right?
Yep. And I wasn't able to find this, so I sent a list of parts that I wasn't able to find in the component clouds, and this was one of them.
The fan itself?
Yep.
Oh, fan I can check, considering there's a whole database just for fans, so we might have it. So let me double check. Do you have a part number for your fan?
Yeah, it's from Hoffman, and it's going to be T.
Let me just open up the fan library first. Fans. Oh, I'm not connected. Dang it. No, I'll have to do this. I can't. Unfortunately, I cannot look it up right now. It's like at some point I either move my library or something. My Hoffman fans are not connected.
Can we go through the folder thing again? How to organize them, just real quick?
Sure.
Okay. So we made this. We made the MP.
Okay, so let's just move these items where they actually should be, considering that's the thing about dynamic parts. When you bring in a dynamic part and you don't choose location at the very beginning, they just go in this automatic folder. So for right now, let's just collapse U2 and U4 for time being. Looks like we missed the U4 on a selection. Right click on U4, just to ungrayed out. Click device properties. This will be on the symbol side, I think. Close this window, open up U4, expand the U4. Double click on that object. Considering it's hidden, I'm not sure it's going to show. Right click on the symbol, right click on this highlight. Sorry, right click on the pink highlight. Click symbol properties. I think we may have missed this one from our selection. Yeah, this one is still on those hidden parts, but it's assigned to symbol 250. Click cancel. Wonder if we click something on accident. Right click on U4 in the device tree structure. Say unlock. Yeah, unlock object, top third one. Yeah, I think there was an accidental selection. Okay. Yeah, we just accidentally locked this U4. That's why it was shown gray in your device tree structure. All right, so let's collapse U4 and then select U1 through U5, as in like select all those 5 pieces, and just drag and drop it into the MP folder down below. MP folder.
Did I do the right one? Yeah.
Let's see here. Scroll up here. No, this was in the panel one, so we need the one that just says MP. So let's just do this same drag and drop motion, or undo it once. Either or, both ways works. Scroll up automatically, and then MP folder, 2 items down. So look at the structure. The one that says location is the one that's blank, as in it does not have a location. And we're trying to move it into one that has a location, as in has a location as an entry. And the only location that has an entry is the door and MP. So before you move it, I'm just going to make this little window slightly bigger. In your results window, just below the selection, can you make the results window slightly smaller? Like just scale it downward from there. Yep, keep going down. We just need like maybe 4 or 5 rows to see visible on the results anyways. All right, now we can see the full structure. So your current selection, U1 through U5, drag and drop it down just 2 items down, as in that there's a door and there's an MP as a result, right there. That is our location. Okay. Do the same thing for the item that says up above, MP2. Let me select that one. What was that one? Is that the plate?
Yes.
That's the mounting plate. So that one goes into the MP4. Actually, expanded MP. Is that the one actually it's placed? That's the currently one that's not placed. Expanded. That's the one that can be deleted. Right. When it shows yellow as an unplaced, then we can select MP2 and just delete this as a device. I think this is still from our initial part searches. Okay, so that's good. Expanded A. What was our A? I think that was our playground as well. Yeah, those are those switches that we were doing. So let's just select all 5 of those and we can delete those 4 because these are really not part of your project. Deletion always has to be on the device level. Okay, so this is good now. Yeah, so if you collapse everything, actually to collapse everything, just to show you, if you are expand something big, just to show you how it's done quicker, right? So for example, select ENC2 and open it up like 2-3 levels even further down or further deep. Expand, expand, expand as an example, okay? Select anywhere in this like a deep selection that you have. Any of these objects, okay? So now on your keyboard, if you only use the left arrow, just keep pressing the left arrow and you'll notice that the whole thing will start collapsing by itself.
Oh, good.
It just makes everything so much faster, like when you have a whole bunch of stuff open all at one shot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay? All right, so we have a door, we have a mounting plate, we have a panel. So this is our starting point, is in like a clean project, nice structure. We don't have any cached parts, etc. Everything is there that we need, and what we don't need, we haven't used it yet or haven't placed it yet.
Why does this one still have the pink over it?
So to reset the highlights, if it's actually 2 icons left from the ruler up in top of your toolbar, because we jumped to it, that's why it's pink.
Okay.
So 2 items to your left is the reset button. That one right there, reset highlight. So nice to see when you double click on something to find out where it's at, and that's the way to reset. Okay, so now you had a few parts that we haven't placed yet. So expand your mounting plate folder, and let's see what's all in there. Let's click on the F folder. I think those could be our contactors, I'm guessing. Click on that F1. What is that?
So these are just symbols, right?
Correct. Those are schematic symbols, and the last is your model. But if you just click on F1 itself, and those are all the slot points on the model, just so you know what those are. And again, this is even from the training itself. You have the option to separate out this view with slot points, which means those little circles that you see.
Mm-hmm.
You can have that on a separate tab altogether. I prefer to keep them all together just so I don't have to like switch between the tabs. But sometimes, as you see here, it could be overwhelming. But I think this part is honestly done wrong because there's no way that there's more than one contact point required on this thing. So this is definitely a mistake of some kind.
Yeah.
Because usually, like, if there's an auxiliary front, as in like a place to place a auxiliary contact, you only need one.
So what could have happened?
So we can circle back to these and actually fix these parts. For right now, I just wanted you to place a couple of these extra parts so you can get some visual on your panel layout. All right, so let's just put that on your DIN rail itself. I think that's where it's supposed to go. Well, I'll put this on a mounting plate. Just first find out what is the mounting description for this guy. Does it even go on a DIN rail or not? Right click on this component. Let's click on device properties. And let's click on shape. That's usually where all these mounting descriptions are stored. So in this case, and again, this is a longer story, but as you go to the component cloud, the component cloud itself, it's called or using a feature called CLX. It's an application. That application allows you to go to component cloud, find your part, and as you're downloading part, that CLX plugin goes directly from CLX directly into your library itself. Now, considering component cloud is for the whole planet, they have parts that are, let's say, German native parts. So when they do their mounting description, as we call our TS35mm, their mounting description is as you see it on your top left. As in German, it says Hutschiene, TH35, okay? So that mounting description, while correct, it is not in a proper language. So this CLX tool itself has a mapping feature, as in like just like any other mapping, to say like, okay, if you run into library at Hoshina TS35, convert it to TS35mm, as in the one that you expect to see here.
Right.
So that's something that we can do from like a support side to, you know, help you with that mapping aspect of it. I can probably put an email together how to do that. Again, just maybe too long for today's session, because considering I want us to actually be more productive than fixing these parts. Nevertheless, you need to learn obviously how to do that as well, just so you know how it's done. So let's see here. To do this quick fix once, click on Device tab just to grab the part number for this part, so we can go delve into it. Under Component, copy that entire 193 number. Okay, Control C. Okay, copy it. Cancel out of this. Okay, now we're going to go into our library under Component and search for the component name by just pasting it in there. Press Enter. Okay, now one search result. Right click on that and just say Edit, and it's going to open up your editor as a default. So it's going to take a minute or so to load, because it is open up the separate application. So now in editor itself, the mounting description is done on the model. Right now we have the component open. Let's see here, expand. Let's see which way this will be the fastest. I don't know if this is from your earlier model opening. Expand the second model. Not sure what that is part of, or just double click on that model. So I think that's something else. Yeah, that was something else. So we can delete this. That's not really anything that we need right now. Now we don't want to save anything unless you know what you were doing. I don't know what you were playing with.
No.
Okay. Expand this component just so you can see the full name and the full structure. And I want you to right click on the model, which is the last object in there, just to grab the actual name. Click on Properties. Now what we're going to do is just grab the model name from the very top, the little grayed out section. Select it all. Just copy it. Okay. Cancel out of this. And in your search on the bottom left, let's click on the Model tab, because we're only looking for models. Looks like your search is not there. So let's just restore that search as well while we're at it. Right click on the C users. Look like a path that's currently selected. And let's do model search configuration. We're just going to do this once. All right, so on the left side, let's find object symbol name. That's the first one. Symbol. Actually, you are in the model, so symbol name should still be here.
Model name?
Must have been model name, because my brain might be just going crazy right now. Model name, next, or click on the little arrow. Click on the little arrow in the center that's pointing to the right. Okay, model name is showing. Oh, sorry, I did one too many. Demo, then you can left to remove. Okay, and then we need description. A couple items up, description. Let's add that one as well. Okay, so those two are default. Click OK. I forgot we're in the library, that's why I was thinking model. Click on miscellaneous just to see if other filters are there. Click on miscellaneous tab. All right, let's edit this one as well. Looks like it's missing the actual symbol name feature as well. Right click, search configuration. And this will be your symbol name that I was trying to think of. Symbol name. And edit to the right. And then change the order of these two by using the second list of buttons on the right side. That shows up and down. Okay, that looks proper. Symbol name comes first. Click OK. All right, and click on symbol. Let's make sure those filters are there. If not, let's restore those as well. Again, this just needs to be done once.
No, yeah, I was wondering where they were.
Looks like the configuration was not ran. All right, symbol name here as well, and description. Click OK, that's good. And let's click on components. I think that one was okay. Yeah, component looks okay. All right, so this doesn't disappear. Click on the view and then click on workspace, just to make sure that it sticks. workspace configuration, uncheck the little check mark there, and click save. So this default stuff is stored as such. All right, let's search for search for a model. We need to be in the model tab, so we're just looking for the model. All right, press enter, and then we can right click on that model and say edit. All right, so now that we have the model available, right click in the background anywhere, and we'll select model properties. Under shape tab, just like in project, is all these mounting descriptions. So what you need to do here is click on that Houdshine TH35 and select delete. And there's a button on the lower right. All right, let's delete that one. If you use the drop-down menu once, depending if you used the previously TS35 will show up in this list. So like right now it is there. If you don't see anything, for example, the description wise, you'll just have to click on the list more descriptions, the little checkbox that you see there on the left if it doesn't show up. But if you use it once, it will come back here next time you search for it. So click on add to actually make this the default one, default mounting description. That's all we need to do with this guy. Click apply and OK. All right, so looking at this component, does this really get mounted on the rail? We don't see any features where this really goes onto mounting.
Because this goes into the motor starter. The motor starter gets mounted on the DIN rail. This just hangs from its terminals.
Yeah, it's inserted into it. And you don't have the motor starter at this point, correct? I'm assuming.
Let me see. It would be,
even a couple characters will do.
Oh really?
Just put a wild character after it.
No.
Even if you just type in like 100 wild character. And also with just models in general, a lot of models have an M prefix, like M underscore and then the part number. Mm-hmm. So whenever you are searching for anything, I would just generally say part numbers or models or symbols, etc. Always put a wild character in the front and a wild character at the back. That's how truly the search actually should work. So wild character in the front, wild character, as in like the number 8 on your keyboard, like a little asterisk looking thing.
Oh, I was like, what is that? Okay. Like
little star button that you see. So it's like a shift. It's a shift or control. Man, like these things that I do, just so intuitive. I didn't think of.
Like that?
Shift. Yes. So 1 after 16. So it's like accommodates for anything before or anything after.
Oh,
so
wow.
Again, doesn't need to be exact, but let's just say if that was the result, that's if it was there, that would be the result of it. So it looks like this is just a contactor, which is likely not the reference you were looking for.
Yeah, I think this goes into here. This is like a motor protector and this is a motor starter.
Yep. So again, the assembly of things is set up using slat point and a mounting description. Now, just to show you the principles behind these things, in your model device structure on the left side, expand that little model name. So not the library, but your little temporary editor up on top. Under model, expand that guy so you can see the full contents of it, okay? So whenever you import a step file, like in this case, there was a step file, there was a model for this thing. When the step file is imported, the import process creates these side views, bottom views, top views, etc. that you see here grayed out. But as far as that, and that was kind of the part that I was supposed to cover today in the training, is the remainder of the database training is to go over kind of the aspects of some of this stuff that we're about doing right now.
Okay.
Which means when you do this import, it creates these multiple views. each one of these views is seen as where your mouse highlighted section is right now, as in you see the front, the back, the right, left, etc. How many of your views are generated as requested. But majority of the things that you'll be working on, let's say adding the nodes, adding the texts, adding these slot points as needed, are generally done in this front view. So if you double click on the front view itself, it'll kind of show you this little pink highlight to make sure that you're in the right view. You can zoom in slightly just to see it. Right, you see the little highlight that's around it, just to say, okay, you're in this view. All the other ones are kind of grayed out looking.
Yeah.
Your front view at the moment also has a little plus next to it, which means there are other objects that somebody at some point of time added to the front. So if you expand that, see all these different slot points. Again, I see that there's just way too many of them for this to be even a real thing. So if you start from bottom up, just so we can kind of find out what these items actually are, double click on any of these, or just make the field slightly wider so we can see all of these full names. Okay, so in this case, it looks like what this ends up being is that each contact has a slot point. This could be used for jumpers. It could be used for combs, as in like a mechanical combs, like to combine multiple of these starters, you know, like T1 to the next T1 to the next T1 kind of together. Also, your starter thing, for example, could be one of those contact points, as in, technically speaking, you could add this auxiliary contact that we were just looking at into T2 and the T3, meaning all of these individual points are possible insertion points for something else electrical, like another expansion of something else.
Yeah.
So how did these two pieces now mount together is expand this little, in the database editor on your left side, where all your little yellow spots are, expand the name, or make this window twice as big just temporarily so we can see it all. If you click in the header between the component / symbol and info column, that little separator window, there you go, we can make that a little wider. So now normally if I were to design such parts, because I'm trying to make my life easier, so I would usually, instead of just calling everything aux-f, because really it's too broad of a comment, especially for everything, I would, for example, pick one to say, okay, this is for my starter, this is for my jumper, this is for my whatever those items are, as I'm looking at them to be my end items. So you can right click on these aux-f as an example. Right click on that, click on properties. All right, so each one of those items that you see now in this list, all of those little yellow items in the top of your list, yeah, it looks like CVR-T, I'm not sure what it's for. But as you go through each one of these items, actually, this is a different contactor, I think. No, this is still the one we're looking at. Anyways, each one of these items, you have the option to rename this description as to what you call these contact points. So instead of just calling it aux-f, right, very general term, very general statement, could be anything, you can call it out to be something very specific. So you can use these description fields to say this is my starter, and then at that point maybe starter 1, starter 2, starter 3 position, etc. So you can manually type in anything you want, because this manual reference, this description reference, only matters to you.
Okay.
Because you want to go to the other component that receives it and say, go and connect yourself to this name that you're specifying right here.
So this is just pointing out, like, these are all the same thing?
They're exactly the same thing. They are at a different positions. So if you notice how the Z position changes as you select multiple items. So if you actually take this 3D view and click, hold, and slightly drag it up to kind of change its 3D visual, just move it slightly upwards. So it's like a control left click and drag up.
Where
left
at?
Click. Yeah, right there where your mouse is, right in this 3D preview. Are you left clicking?
Yes.
All right, let me see if I'm make sure I'm not seeing tell you something wrong. I think a right mouse button is pan. Left mouse button is if you click and drag to the side. So left click, hold, and drag to the right. Left click, there you go.
Oh, I thought you said control, sorry.
Sorry. And then as you click through each one of these aux references, wherever those actually are in this model, so sometimes they're embedded internal. For example, right now I see that in the middle, that blue one highlighted as you clicked on it, etc. You can see the slide outline of those little cubes that appear, just to show you like which electrical piece this was referring to, or location which it's referring to, where these contacts are for, or where these contacts are positioned.
What would you need to know all of these for?
I can relate to some of them, as in like if every single terminal on this component, if every single terminal had a contact point, it just gives you the location for possible jumper uses. As in, if you had a hardware jumper to go on these, obviously it's just an open slot position to place a jumper anywhere between T1 on this component to T1 on the next component.
Right.
So you're using these like physical, I'm going to call it physical hardware, to go from one slot point on this component to the one slot point on the next component that looks just like it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about the only thing that I would ever say that you would need this level of this many contact points.
Right.
Normally, I would use, normally, if I were to design this component myself, I will have one slot point just to be able to take this component and plug it into the next component, whichever the other side is called. Like one slot point, that's it. That's all I need. Like that 1 point is enough to take this component and say go mount over there.
Right.
All the other ones that you see here are purely for other external hardware components to go onto it.
Okay.
Right? And just like how you took this is a total story of just perspectives. If you look at this from perspective of this component needs to go on a DIN rail, then this component has to be told somewhere in here to go on a DIN rail, and that is our shape and the mounting description pointer. So it's a matter of perspective. So same thing now, if I use the jumper, like if I open up a model of the jumper, and I said this jumper has to go on aux-T, in this mounting description for that jumper will have to be the aux-T reference. So it's just like depending from where do you look, is how did the relation between these slot points and the mounting description relate, because they're just pointing to each other.
Okay.
Right. So same thing for DIN rails perspective, right? The DIN rail itself has its standard. The DIN rail itself will have a slot line called TS35mm, and that's how you look at it from a DIN rails perspective, while everything else mounts onto it. So same thing how this component can go on a DIN rail. There are other components that go onto this component. It's just that this component doesn't have a line where everything kind of goes onto, like a slot does, like a rail does. This one is more like specific points, as in like those terminal screw points.
Right.
That's why there looks like there's so many of them, because technically speaking, you can take a jumper and put it anywhere, right, to any terminal, so to speak. All right, so we corrected this TS35. That was kind of like the main goal of us landing here. Anyways, so let's click OK. And anywhere in the background, let's just right click and save. Right click and save to database. Click yes, commit the save. Update the components in project, okay. All right, so any modified edit that we just did, if you do this on the model side, like we just did, it's automatically gonna save it to the component, okay, in the library. So you don't have to open up component separately to save it. Your component is automatically saved.
Okay.
So now if you minimize this editor, just minimize it, you don't have to close it. Now in your project here, your project will never be automatically updated, and that is purely done out of configuration control reasons. As in, like, if you just build this project for a customer, you sold it, this is the perfect design, somebody already built a product off of it, you don't want some accidental edit that you just did in the library to automatically be applied to this project. It's just I just call it not kosher thing to do from a configuration management perspective.
Right.
But if you are designing this, obviously you know what you're committing, you know why you're editing it, then you actually would just come here to this component, either from the model perspective, like you're putting your mouse on it, or if you select it on a device level, you select the one level up on a device level, or even from a folder or library level, you have the option to do a right click and say update in project, or update all components in project, right? So then when you select update in project, not the attributes, but actually the whole component, so one level up, update in project, usually, like if you do this on the whole project level, so instead of doing this over the device, which this would have been enough, like for what you just did would have been enough, but if you actually do it on a folder level, like the solid state relay folder level, like one level up where you currently selected, if you do update all components in project here, it's going to flag every single item that was ever edited between you starting this project and you messing with the library on some level, right? So anything that you see in this list was modified, let's say on 9/18, since last edit was committed to this project. So if that was all intentional and you say, okay, I do want to see all these changes in my project, then you can just click OK, and it's going to update all of these, whatever, 5-6 parts that you edited in the library and commit them to your project. So now you're fully caught up with your library synchronization, if you will. So now that part goes on the DIN rail itself.
This part?
Yeah. At least we added as a TS35. The only difference is does it actually have a space to place it on, but looks like it does. You just squeezed it in because if you were like 16 of an inch further up, the part wouldn't be able to place just because it's colliding with the duct, right? But again, for your design, right, I would delete the second duct or the duct right above it. So I would delete that one. Actually, don't delete it from here. Undo this once. Actually, I guess it hasn't been deleted yet. Always jump from the model to your device tree structure because you always want to delete it from the project. So Control left click. Control left click till you see the highlighted item in your device tree structure on the left.
And I'm doing the duct?
Yes. Control left click.
I think it's frozen. Do you see it just stuck there?
Press escape on your keyboard. Or double tap in the background.
There we go.
Yeah, now it's deselected. Okay, so Control left click there. There you go. Once you see it jump in the project, now you can go all the way up. Actually, no, I take this back. Actually, this is the side effect of having it all together, because you don't see the individual. You don't see the individual ducts themselves. You see the model of the duct. But where you're currently highlighted in your device tree structure, can you right click there? Now say delete forced. Okay, so this is the difference between unplacing versus deleting out of the project. So considering we're going to be using this, let's just say this horizontal duct that you have here purely for our wires to be connecting from top to bottom, I will put it just in a center between the two rails, if you will, just to have a pathway between the two. And if you have any, well, let me just take a look at that picture here one more time. Do we have any wraps that go all the way around the rail itself? Yeah, we do. The bottom portion.
You have the picture?
Yeah, I took a screenshot of what you had earlier.
Okay.
So what I would do is you would definitely need a duct above your rail and one duct below your bottom rail, because you have some wires that are kind of wrapping themselves around. All right, so we need that one, and one over all the way on the top. Top one is going to be tight. So for top one, I'll show you a little trick that I remember doing from a UK customer here. Let's do a copy paste. Whenever you're ready, place the top one as well. Okay. So now click on this component, or actually click all of your horizontal ones, and I'll explain why. Click all of them. Shift, yep. It's good. Right click, properties. Okay, we do this all in one shot. Click on the shape tab. Man, I was going to say yes, but you cannot. I guess we could have done this from the beginning. Sorry, apparently we cannot do all in one shot. It's just too efficient. So let's click on just the first one. Again, once you see the concept, you'll understand why I'm doing it. Right click, device properties. So here on the left side, where you have your X and size, Y, Y and Z for that matter. So for Y being 1.5 inches, one just below that. They're right there. Right, so 1.5 is our current height and width of these ducts, Now, considering you're not using neither the height or width of these, so I would set them to be like 0.1, 0.1, both for height and the width itself, because you really don't want any interference in your layout at all, right? From a duct perspective, you want them to be least impactful as possible. While the length is okay, length can be 8 inches, that's all right. And then click apply and OK. So that can stay 8 inches. Bottom one can be 0.1. Okay, click apply and OK. So this allows your wires to still have the path as to like where they need to wrap themselves around your objects, right? Your enclosure, but at the same time not interfering because you have a really tight package, right? From a placement perspective.
Right.
Where you still have to make sure that your rail placement still have enough like upper placement space to actually place your components on top. So you want to make sure that all of your horizontal items, well, I would just say delete the second one, delete the bottom one. You can copy paste the ones you just made skinnier, or you can edit them all individually. Just remember, what you just did is just unplace them, right? The idea there was to always go a couple steps back. Your undo is your best friend, as I usually say in the training. Undo till we get those back. One more time. There you go. Control left click to jump them in the device tree structure. Once you see it highlighted, go ahead and right click and delete it from the structure there. So they're like out of the project, so you don't have this like constant caching issue of parts that are not really existing in your project, or not being utilized in your project. Okay, so now you can copy paste that guy a couple times. Yeah. Okay, so while it is important, at least even this horizontal one, looks like you may have one connection, literally one wire. They might be going all the way around, all the way on the left side. So even the vertical one, I would make that one 0.1 skinny. You can device properties and just modify that width and length in the same way. I would have left them there just because it's a little bit easier to scale than these little skinny ones. Nevertheless.
Oh, you would have left it there?
It's okay.
Sorry.
Like said, it's just easier to scale it once you see the full. Like, you know, you see those little dots a little bit easier. So let's just take this vertical one, move it off to the left about 2 inches or so. Expand it all the way top to bottom so you can actually see it all the way top to bottom. There you go. At least there, all the way to the bottom. So all 3 of these actually will end up touching at some point in time. So once you stretch it enough, move it over back to the right side. And you can always scale it back to be appropriate. But yeah, make sure all 3 of them are touching. Even the middle one, I would move left till you see those little purple circles. Because those purple circles are electrical paths. So those have to be shown. If they're not showing, your wire is not going to wrap itself around. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now I would say just based on this layout, I think this is okay for now. Of course, once you start mimicking your stuff, that's okay. Your ground bus bar, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you go to components and reset your search, and you scroll a bit all the way down to, I think it's called ground blocks or terminal grounds. Let's see what it's called. Yeah, the GBK10 is a 10. Click cancel on this. Oh, never mind. This is my problem. Yeah, GB10. See in the preview, you have that's a ground bar, right? If you can even control left click, tilt, rotate, etc. in this window. It's not going to hurt anything. Just to kind of give you a quick preview search.
What was it?
Like we just lost it. I think it's terminal grounds. I think it's called as a folder. Yep, that GBK10 is. It just means it has a 10 contact points.
Then you said I could do what in this preview?
So you can left click in this preview, move it, so you can like rotate this part as needed. Again, just purely to play around.
Yeah.
Also in these preview windows, you can do a right click, and you can have these like a predetermined views. So you can like quickly do front view, side view, etc., whatever it's needed in the moment. Just so you know, like this preview window is more than just a screenshot kind of thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, so let's just grab this GBK10 from a part number perspective, right? If you need this to be a different part number as a part number, then I would take this GBK10 in the library and just right click and say create new from this new component. It's going to open up your library editor itself, but at least you have a component that is the ground bar. It just may be a different part number. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can just say, all right, create me a new one from this, and you're done. Like, you don't have to spend
Oh, it
hours
just did it.
searching on
It did it itself.
So you might in your editor open, in your toolbar, you might have the editor still open. It's going to show it to you there. So this is the panel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right here, right. So in the new name, just on the very top, this is where you would type in whatever the part number needs to be for this ground bar.
Okay.
For your BOM needs.
Yeah,
Do you have that handy?
No, I don't. It's not
Then
on
I would
the.
just leave it as it is till you find out. Again, this is purely if you want to do. I would just say click cancel if you don't have a part number handy right now. But again, that will be the step to go through. It's just to give it a name, and that's it, right? You save it. All the other model stuff and everything else stays the same. You're just changing the name instead of being JBK10.
Right.
But let's just say just grab it from the library. Let's just put it, drag and drop it into the MP folder. Again, if you scroll up a little bit, let's see, make sure, yeah, that one right there. All right, so it looks like it's under E folder, I think. Yeah, E1. That's the one that we just planted. And if you just grab it by the E, you don't have to grab it by the model. You can grab it by the E1, right? Just to drag and drop the part. And there's your ground bar that you need to place under your VFD. So yeah, somewhere in the bottom, etc. But the same thing with all these other parts, right? Your these paths that you're setting up. Again, keep in mind if your wires are now showing going from one part to the other, that you need the ducts in between. Just if the part is too far apart, let's just say if you had VFD and the ground bar itself, and they're just too far apart, the wire will not automatically route between the two. So you will either have to bring the parts closer together, or include the duct in between them.
Okay.
Even duct as we have it here, just so there's a path for the wires to go and chase each other down. Let's see here. In your device tree structure on your left, you have a couple other parts that we haven't placed yet. So let's just go down this list here. What is this first one?
This is the breaker.
All right. So let's just go one motion through one of these motions just to find out how do we get to this 10A control breaker name itself, because that does not look right. So
I just changed it so I knew what it was and where it was. So I need to change that back.
So do a right click. So right click on this green item. I think I just realized what you're saying. Right click on device properties. Click on devices tab. That's where everything kind of starts. Okay, so here. So what normally in the projects this will be referred to like a CB1, like circuit breaker 1 from a reference perspective. Yeah, all references are capital. So this will be quote unquote normal, standardized, project usable name, if you will. So click apply and OK. So that will fix that. Now that I know what you meant. Same thing with the 16 amp use disconnect. Let's expand that one. So fuse disconnect, I don't know what this might be. Let's just call this F1 for sake of missing description right now. All right, click OK. Looks like there's another one, so I'll just call it F2 for sake of lack of better other references. All right, so that looks more proper. So take this CB1, whatever that is, circuit breaker. Let's just drag and drop it so we have all our parts on the mounting plate before we close out here for the day. Are you okay us talking for a little while? Or
yeah.
If you want to stop it, just tell me anytime.
I just need to take a little break. I just need to use the restroom real quick.
No worries. So let's take a 5-minute break.